What's the next decision at that point in time? So those are things that we need to look at, go back, work on, evaluate, get better at. Then when we did break it, there are some opportunities that all of a sudden we put our head down and we were attacking into spots because not even that they were speeding us up as much, but we felt sped up. And so learning that even though we've broken it, we don't have to then go where the defense really wants you to go. You can take your time, move the ball, swing the ball, make different decisions. So we will learn from all those things. Again, I think our players have done a great job of responding. When they see it and they understand it, then they want to go do it.
It was interesting watching your reaction as the team was struggling a little bit with that passive press. I think fans, for the first time, saw maybe a frustrated or can you just talk about, it's early in the season, you talk about incremental process, process-driven team, but there are certain things that are just always going to set you off, aren't there?
Oh, there are. When we give up, I thought we had the very first possession of the third quarter defensively. In the challenge to our team, I thought we defended at a pretty high level in the first half overall. And then the challenge was, and this happens a lot, now you're not in front of our bench. So when you're in front of our bench can help coach you through the defensive possession to the best of our ability, from what you can hear. Now you're on your own. Now you're on the other side of the court. Now you have to be able to communicate with each other. And so I thought if I remember correctly, the very first possession, we did a great job. We made them take a tough shot later in the shot clock, and then they got the offensive rebound. So that's one of those things. That's one of those things that's just, it's hard because you put yourself in a good position. Now you got to finish the play. But again, good learning opportunities for us. We did a good job early on. Now we need to finish that through.
It was a night of first, like you mentioned. Your first game as Gopher coach. Sophie's first game with the Gophers, Nia's first game in college, Grace's first game in college. It had to be kind of nice to see these kids who have been waiting, especially in Nia's case, waiting so long just to get on a court again, play with as much joy as she appeared to play with.
Well, you're right. You look through our roster, and Grace Grahalski, Gigi played her first game for the Gophers. So did Sophie. So did Ayana. So did Janae. So did Nia at that point in time. So did Ajak. So did Mick. So did Bryn. So McKinley. And there are so many. And there are a lot of times during the course of the game we had to remind ourselves we just have to have a little bit of patience too as coaches because there's so much. And when you get into the game action, you go back to what you naturally do. And now sometimes we have to change that. We have to play in lower stances maybe. Sometimes we have to move, we have to switch some different actions. Sometimes it's a reaction we normally, maybe last year we switched that. Now we don't switch that. Now it's different. And so there are times we have to remind ourselves this is going to take a little bit of time to really feel like we're on the same page consistently.
On both sides, right, of the court. It's like what you're talking about. The turnovers sometimes were caused, as Mara said, by people trying to overpass a little bit.
Right, exactly. Against the press, it was overpassing, not handling it. And then in the beginning of the third quarter, they just kind of took the ball away from us. We were just pretty lackadaisical with it, And so understanding what to do when, how to attack. I thought finally when we got into screening and moving, we got some great looks, but it took us 4 or 5 possessions where we just kind of stood around. And so all of those things we'll hopefully get better at, and hopefully get better at quickly.
Just how important is Janae Sanders having that veteran experience of what she brings to this team?
Well, I think Janae is someone who can be a leader in hustle plays. She's someone who can be a leader on either end of the court. She is someone who is trying to learn a new system very quickly, as is everybody. But the good news is she's been through it. She understands kind of the length of the season. She understands a lot of how to make things happen. And so she's someone who is very, very attentive and really wants to be good, and is someone who's willing to continue to make adjustments. And I think her best days are still far into her this season, her career for her. But I think she's going to keep getting better game by game.
Nia coming back, do you think she said she has a kind of a very energetic style of play? Is there a sense of control you're working on with her?
I thought Nia played really, really well. I thought she made so many things happen. I would say the one thing that she has to feel comfortable with is there are times that in the lineup she may be switching a ball screen per se. There may be other times she's guarding the primary post kid and she has a different responsibility at that point in time. There are times that she just wants to go get the ball and puts herself in positions where she maybe gambles a little bit too much. And so understanding those type of things, but she can pick that up. I will say this, Nia's basketball IQ is incredibly high. You know, we're looking at maybe putting in a different baseline out of bounds play, let's say, or maybe we worked on it 4 weeks ago and now we're going back and revisiting it, and she's out there instructing everyone with where to go. And so she's a sponge. She's going to just keep getting better and better.
How'd you feel about the team's rebounding effort tonight?
Well, I thought for the most part we did a pretty good job of it. You know, we didn't shoot it very well from the free throw line. Those are some opportunities I thought maybe we could have done a better job keeping some of those possessions alive a little bit longer. Maybe getting one of those offensive rebounds or multiple offensive rebounds would have been nice. Be better to even just make free throws, but that can happen at times too. So I thought overall it was pretty good. I think we've got to continue to understand, again, some of the physicality of it and what to do with some of those type of things, and how to, sometimes you get caught in a rotation. And so when you say you've got to box out, and let's say it's a player that one of our guards had, but the guard had to come over and help, and now somebody has to sink down and box her kid out who's flying in from the perimeter, or a post kid comes over to help. I thought Sophie did a great job of helping on the baseline at times. That kid takes a shot. It's not going to be possible for Sophie all the time to get back and box her kid out. So rotating and finishing plays that way. So those are all things we have to understand, and we just have to be in scenarios to practice those enough and see them in games, and then eventually we'll keep getting better at them.
Couple more. What kind of idea now that the game is over and you've seen your team play in that game day setting, what kind of idea now do you have of the versatility of your team?
Well, I think the advantage that we have is that we have multiple players who can score it, who can shoot it from the arc. We have multiple players who can score it inside. We have a number of players who are very good offensive rebounders, defense rebounders. We had some different assignments on the defensive end, talking about versatility, where we switched some ball screen action. So I think we have the potential to we have some very good versatility. I think we have the potential to keep growing that versatility.
Was it because of foul trouble, or did you want to take a look at some smaller lineups for the future in certain situations? Because there were times when you were actually pretty small out there and with a bunch of interchangeable parts, especially on the defensive end.
Right. We had, I think at some times, Maggie was probably our 5 type of player. And some of it, Sophie was in foul trouble. Some of it, we wanted to see some different lineups, see some different looks. And I thought that group actually did a pretty good job defensively. But again, then understanding, and the challenging part for us too is we really had one game to scout our opponent. As time goes on, hopefully we'll do a better job of understanding personnel at a little bit higher level. But those are all things that this is going to come at us fast at this point in time. We have a 2-day prep for our next opponent, then a 2-day prep again, and then a 2-day prep again. And so there's a lot for us to really be effective. Our young ladies are going to be overloaded for a little bit because there's so much to know. Then they'll get into the point where it's routine and they have it figured out and they'll feel pretty comfortable with it. But right now, I'm guessing they won't feel comfortable with it for a while.
Laura said that you were going to be up all night watching film. Is that true?
That's probably true, yes.
All right, guys, thanks.
Thank you.
Ken, let's get Mike walk over here. I'll be at the top of the stairs.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
You're keeping everyone out of here. Keep the riffraff out, right? Is that your job?